and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Stylosa, and in this video we're going to go over in detail the Overwatch 2.0 competitive system. This is the new competitive system for Overwatch 2 that is being introduced when the game launches on October the 4th. So let's do this. Competitive play has been at the heart of the Overwatch community for years, and we have long-term plans to nurture this game mode far into the future. We're excited to show you how we're updating competitive in Overwatch 2, starting with the goals that guided our decisions. First, seasons should be exciting and tell their own individual stories. Each one should take players on a new journey with new heroes, maps, game modes, or balance changes. Second, we believe losing games shouldn't be a purely negative experience. Competitive players should feel a sense of progression after games, and we want to provide players with the tools needed to improve and rank up. Finally, we need an improved competitive experience for returning players, for the benefit of both them and their teammates. Let's dive deeper into what we're doing to make Overwatch 2 competitive feel fun and fair to play. Unlocking competitive. Overwatch 2 will not have portrait levels, and match experience will go towards leveling up your battle pass. New players who create an Overwatch 2 account on or after October the 4th will play through a guided first-time user experience. They will need to complete the FTUE and win 50 quick play matches before competitive unlocks. This gives new players time to prepare for the higher expectations that come with competitive, while veteran players don't feel discouraged by teammates who have less experience. In the process of unlocking competitive, we analyze new players' skill levels to optimize matchmaking in a way that feels good to everyone. This only affects accounts made on or after the October 4th release date. Anyone who has competitive unlocked prior will have access to competitive in Overwatch 2. Okay, let's take a look at skill tier divisions. Now, this is a kind of big one because SR is being replaced in Overwatch 2 by skill tier divisions. We made the decision to remove SR as a numeric value to relieve the sense of being stuck at a certain rank. Seeing your SR go up and down after each match almost felt like taking a test with the teacher passing or failing you based on each individual question rather than your complete work. It was a lot of pressure, and it doesn't give players an accurate representation of how they're performing overall in competitive. Tiers still exist in competitive, Bronze through Grandmaster. Each tier will have 5 divisions ranking from 5, which is the lowest, to 1, which is the highest. As you progress through each tier, your division will count down until you rank up to the next tier. Top 500 will not have tier divisions. Tier divisions represent the same skill levels as SR, but they give players a higher level view of where they're placed in competitive. Each division represents approximately 100 SR range. Players will receive a competitive update every 7 wins or 20 losses instead of every single game. Competitive updates will show your progress and adjust your division if necessary. Looking at the past 7 or 20 games as a collective helps you better understand how you're performing in competitive rather than putting a ton of pressure on each individual game. We want you to feel like you're improving and being rewarded for advancing from the first day you start playing in competitive in Overwatch 2. Okay, so there's some big things here. Now, obviously, the introduction of skill tiers means you're going to see games with, like, let's say if you're in Master, you will have Master, could be a Master 3 player, but there could also be a Master 2 and a Master 1 player in the same game. The Master 1 player would be a higher skill player than the Master 3, but you would all be Master players effectively. But still, the divisions are going to denote your skill level within a tier. So the tiers would be Master, and the divisions obviously will be the numbers 1 to 5. Now, the other big thing to take away from this is the way SR is being adjusted. Now, SR is not being adjusted every single game. In fact, it is being assessed after a number of games are played. Now, as they say, you will receive a competitive update every 7 wins or 20 losses instead of every single game. So if you win 7 games, it's then going to adjust your SR, which is going to adjust your division, which is going to adjust your tier. That's kind of the way this works. I don't know whether it's 7 games on the trot or if it's just, you know, if you played 10 games and won 7, then it would do an estimation. It's probably that system because it would factor in the defeats you've suffered and your performance in those games. Now, beyond the no illusions, I'm pretty sure that MMR, which is the hidden matchmaking rating, will be still in the game, but you won't be able to see it. And that's your underlying skill level. So there may be scenarios where you come across players I don't know, maybe there's like a Diamond 1 in your game, but you're a Master 3, and you're like, what the hell is this Diamond doing in my game? It's probably because they've got the same MMR, because MMR will underlie all of these systems, and then you've got SR, and then obviously it goes from there. But of course, we're still waiting for confirmation on that, but I'd assume that's still the same. But the big news here for skill tier divisions is that it's only going to adjust after 7 wins or 20 losses. So if you lose 20 games, it's going to think, okay, do we need to adjust this player? But if you've maybe won 10 and lost 10, or won 10, lost 10, won 10, lost 10, I don't know, that kind of pattern, then maybe it won't adjust you too much because you're still winning games, but you're still losing. And I think overall, this is probably a better way of looking at the progression of an account, because there's so many different varying factors in a game of Overwatch that can affect your SR. In the current version, or in Overwatch 1, you could just have toxic teammates. You could just have the wrong team comp. There's like loads of reasons. The players could be better in one game, but they don't play the right comp. And yet in the next game, the players are worse, but you end up beating a team of higher MMR rating simply because you played a better comp. And like, you can't just keep adjusting players based off wins and losses after every game. So I do think this is a good system. But again, as with all this stuff, we're going to have to wait and see how this plays out when, you know, we've got a few months of data under our belts. Match-focused UI. We're making some changes to the competitive UI based on feedback that we've seen in the community. Portrait borders that symbolize player level are going away from all game modes in Overwatch 2, and competitive skill tiers will no longer be displayed before each competitive match. Skill tier and divisions aren't completely aligned with the matchmaking rating we use to determine matches. To this end, the screen has been redesigned so you can instead display your name cards and titles. So yeah, MMR is still a thing. And that, I mean, this change here is straight up for toxicity, because you know what this is like. You jump into a game and you'd be like, oh, look, we've got a platinum border. What are you doing in gold? You're trash. You know, there's all that going on. That's not going to happen anymore because you just literally won't know. The introduction of the new scoreboard will help you identify your team's needs and adjust your strategy accordingly. We're removing medals from the scoreboard because they were too arbitrary to paint an accurate picture of a player's contributions to their team. Our goal with this new scoreboard is to communicate information about how the match is progressing in a more open and transparent way. Yep, I'm a big fan of the scoreboard and I want to see more development and upgrades to the scoreboard. But yeah, the fact we've got a scoreboard is a massive, massive improvement over the crap medal system that was in Overwatch 1. Which again was there because of toxicity reasons. So, you know, it's interesting looking at these Overwatch 2 changes. They've got changes they've made to reduce toxicity, but then they're adding systems which could be massive toxic barriers. I mean, a scoreboard will very easily let you look at DPS on your team and go, well, we've got a Cassidy and Soldier, and Cassidy's done 100 damage and Soldier's done 5,000 damage in this game. What's going on? Cassidy's throwing. You know, so there is going to be a lot of that probably, so get ready for that. Anyway, finally, the new ping system gives you a new tool to communicate with your team. It's no surprise that teams with better synergy win games. You can use the ping system to better coordinate with your team without having to speak, and the system is also an effective way to enhance voice callouts within game queues. Yep, ping system, again, massive fan of that system. It's really, really good. Placement matches and Season 1. The placement system from past competitive seasons is changing in Overwatch 2. Instead of playing 5 matches without a rank, you'll be unranked until your first competitive update after the first 7 wins or 20 losses. You can expect to start in a lower skill tier divisions after placement matches and progress through the ranks throughout the season. Okay, that's much better. That's fine. Take that. All players that were ranked in competitive prior to Overwatch 2 will have their rank modified post-launch. Overwatch 2 is a very different game, so we applied a formula that gives returning players an opportunity to redefine their rank when they dive into updated competitive. Most players will find their rank is slightly lower when they start out, as they will be learning new concepts and metas. However, players who got to learn more about the game in our betas or who follow the Overwatch League may find themselves ranked higher than ever. Now, this is kind of interesting because this may lead into a system which is going to prevent... So, you know the problem we used to have in Overwatch 1? If you were a GM player in Season 10 and you didn't touch the game until Season 18 and then you suddenly started playing, it would still put you in GM, SR rated, MMR rated games, and you would throw because you wouldn't be at that level. You know, you need to get back into the Overwatch groove, and so you'd lose a game. And it's not just affecting that player, it's affecting the whole team. And eventually you may settle down in Diamond, maybe even go to Plat, I don't know. And then suddenly you start getting traction back and working your way back through the ranks. Hopefully, this new algorithm, this new formula they've got for returning players is applied to that as well. I think that could make a huge change, or be a huge benefit. And also, the fact that they're just doing this straight up to returning players is a good thing. Because again, if you have not, if you played Overwatch in Season 20, then haven't touched it, and you've come back for Overwatch 2, you can't be expecting to go straight into a master game. I mean, the game is totally different anyway. It's 5v5, the meta's different, the heroes are all different. So yeah, it's a good thing, this is. So I think I'm happy with that. Game reports. We'll introduce a new section to the career profile where you can find your replays and highlights, further enabling you to learn and grow from your gameplay experience. We're adding a new feature called Game Reports under the History tab in your career profile. Game Reports provide a detailed summary of all the matches played in your current session of Overwatch. These reports show you an overview of all the matches in your current session broken down by game mode. Opening a match will further expand your stats, including an overview of how you played, which heroes you used, and other match information. Clicking on heroes played will expand your stats and other handy information from each match's scoreboard. For example, if you played Ana during a match, your personal stats will show biotic grenade kills, enemies slept, and nano boosts assists. Likewise, other heroes will have specific statistics to give you a detailed report of how you performed on any hero. In a future update, we'll have your recently played matches persist across sessions, meaning even if you log off, you can jump back on and review them later. We'll also introduce a timeline feature to check out key moments from the match and review the final results of the scoreboard. Okay, I'm a big fan of this. Any tools they can give players to further understand where they're making mistakes and improve as a player is massive, because in Overwatch 1 it was always the age-old thing of everyone just would instantly forget the last game they were in, would constantly repeat their same mistakes over and over again. I mean, I know this, guys, because I've seen literally hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands at this point, of replays of Overwatch players from across all the ranks. And, okay, I'm not the greatest coach in the world, but it's just, I can point obvious things out like, okay, you're a DPS player and all you do is spend time spamming at the barriers or the tanks. Well, barriers are kind of going in Overwatch 2, but you're just spamming tanks. You're not actually trying to get effective eliminations. You're just padding your stats and nothing's really happening. And you could have spent that time killing the Ana in the backline maybe or something. That's just a vague example, but anything in the game that can help with that is massive. So if you've got statistics that are saying like, well, you're playing, I don't know, a very basic one I suppose would be like Mercy, but maybe you're just damage boosting all the time and not healing. You probably would be aware of that. But if you've got statistics showing you how much healing you're doing, and you could compare those statistics back to other Mercy players at your rank and how much healing they're doing, you may be able to say, well, actually, if I heal a bit more here, maybe I can start going up the ranks because I'm balancing my damage boost and my healing. Or maybe even you look at Mercies in higher ranks and go, well, you know what? They're actually healing more than I am, so I should focus more on healing. Now, that's a stupid, basic, ultra take on this, but what I'm trying to get across is that could actually translate into players easily identifying where they've got flaws in their gameplay and fixing it, because the only way to do this in Overwatch 1 would be to go and find a professional coach, or to have a player of a higher rank who plays the same role as you explain what they're doing, or for you to sit down and watch your replays back religiously. And the problem is people don't do that, because when you want to play a game, you want to play a game, not sit there watching a replay all night. Top 500 leaderboards. Top 500 leaderboards will largely remain the same, separated by input pool. You still need to complete 25 games for any given role in role queue or 50 games in open queue. The combined role queue leaderboard requires you to complete at least 25 matches. The top 500 leaderboards unlock 2 weeks into the start of each new season, and cross-platform players can view the separate leaderboards by input pool. Skill decay in competitive. Okay, this is I was hoping it would get to this, so let's do it. This is going to be good. Our team has also been considering how to approach players who have not played Overwatch recently. Players who haven't played recently are less likely to maintain their actual prior skill output in a match, which is completely true. To help, and in fact I went on a rant about that earlier on, but anyway, to help account for this and make matches fairer, players who haven't played in a while will find their internal matchmaking rating lowered to help us reevaluate and determine their current skill level. We'll also adjust their internal matchmaking rating more quickly, up or down, as they play matches after returning. Returning players will therefore quickly get back to their appropriate skill tier and division as they continue to play. Okay, this has been much needed for ages, because like I said, and I'm not going to go over it again, but like I said, if you've took a year off the game and you were in plat and then you come back and just suddenly start playing ranked without any practice, you're not plat anymore, you're probably silver, and you need to sort yourself out in a few games, right? Or at least give it a couple of days, you know what I mean? So this is better. Good job, Blizz. What about competitive rewards? Are we going to get anything new? Well, let's have a look. Competitive seasons will be aligned with our overall seasonal schedule, including the Battle Pass. We're removing the commemorative sprays and icons players earned each season, including the top 500 sprays and icons. We're introducing new limited competitive titles for your name card that you can earn as you climb the ranks. These titles will be a way to show off to other players how high you climbed in a season. You can only earn these titles at the end of the current competitive season and only use them in the season following. Okay, so if you get the Master title, whatever that ends up being, like Master Hero or something, I don't know, Grandmaster Legend, God knows what, Diamond in the Rough, I don't know, you can only use that the next season after the season you've earned it, but then it goes away the next season because you need to earn it again. Now, this makes sense because obviously if you've got like the Grandmaster reward and then maybe you get stuck in plat or something, it would look a bit silly if you just go around with the Grandmaster thing. But then again, you could argue you did make it in that season. You maybe played out of your mind, you played 500 hours of competitive in that season, and so you deserved it, you earned it. So yeah, but it's temporary, and I think this just gives competitive players something a little bit extra to grind towards. Of course, this does mean that everyone in your skill tier, whatever player, whatever tier you kind of rest in, so whether that would be, you know, gold, well, diamond, platinum, let's just use GM as the example because we all wish we were GM. All the GM players are just every season going to have the same title, basically. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, great. What about competitive points? Well, we will continue to reward currency for winning competitive matches, rewarding 10 points for a win, 3 points for a draw, earning 3,000 points to allow you to unlock a golden weapon for any of Overwatch's heroes, including new heroes like Sojourn, Junker Queen, and Kiriko. However, we'll be capping the number of bonus competitive points earned at the end of the season to the highest skill tier you reach in any of your roles, including Open Queue. So yeah, you just be able to buy gold weapons, it looks like. Hopefully they give different rewards for this in the future. It would be nice to have some other kind of thing to spend on. I mean, it's not like I've got 9,900 competitive points that I would like to spend, Blizzard. And finally, evolving the competitive experience. These changes are the beginning of our new competitive experience in Overwatch, and we'll continue to watch for ways to deliver fair and exciting matches in our core game mode. Upcoming features include a skill progression report each time you get a competitive update. That'd be really cool. We can't wait for each season to provide a new chapter for everyone looking to grow their skills, and our team looks forward to all the changes coming in competitive in Overwatch 2. Okay then, in conclusion, what do we think about this? This seems... I mean, okay, so the big thing here is if you're a free-to-play account, you need to play 50 games of quick play to then be able to play competitive, which is... yeah, and also we know, based off the blog from the other day, that this was the Defense Matrix blog, that new free-to-play accounts have to play about 100 games to unlock all of the heroes. So if they only need 50 games... 50 quick play matches, then, oh, they have to win these, by the way, then, well, I guess you're not going to win 50 games, are you? That's the thing. Like, you're probably going to lose. You're probably going to win and lose, win and lose, win and lose, aren't you? So you would play 100 games anyway. So I'd imagine you would unlock most of the roster when it comes to it. But yeah, I don't know. I think they're damned if they do, damned if they don't here. You can't just let free-to-play accounts go straight into competitive simply because they just, hackers will be all over the place, right? So they can't do that. There needs to be a barrier to entry. So that's not too bad. Now, skill tier divisions, I think this is a good change. This is very similar to a lot of other games out there that all use different divisions within their skill tiers. Apex Legends being the example I use. I think Valorant uses it as well. Oh, actually, does Valorant? Yeah, I think it does, right? Oh, God, I might have just said something that's not true. I don't know. Apex Legends does. I know that for sure. So, yeah, this is fine. It's like a more modern version of the skill division, so I'm fine with that. I'm also fine as well with not having SR change every game, because it is a bit of a downer, isn't it? Like when you see that SR number go down and it goes up and it goes down, it's like, oh my God, like you can, some days you can feel like you're playing the game for hours and getting nowhere. Never feels great. So I think hiding a bit of that away probably will help with sort of like morale, I think, of competitive players. Match focused UI stuff. Okay, this so for this bit, I think, yeah, the competitive UI changes are probably like, so not showing SR at the start of a game or showing skill tiers and such. I think, well, it says competitive skill tiers will no longer be displayed before each competitive match. That's going to mean there's going to be less toxicity, less of a negative mentality at the start of the match for the players. So I think that's a really big thing, and I think that's a really good thing. Obviously, the ping system is going to be huge, and the scoreboard as well is going to be huge, although I do think the scoreboard will start generating toxicity. But the thing is, we need access to that information, and if the game wants to be a competitive game, it actually has to give players that information. So again, they're kind of damned if they do, damned if they don't, but hopefully it's not too toxic. And yeah, I think, to be honest, like the rest of it, I think this is pretty fine. I'm not seeing any glaringly bad move here from Blizzard. I mean, of course, okay, the big takeaway is, look, you have to win 50 games in quick play as a free-to-play account if you want to get into comp. That's a lot, right? Because you're not gonna win 50 games. You're gonna, unless you're amazing and you just win all 50 games, but you're gonna lose some games there. It's gonna take a while to do that, and I think some players might maybe get bored before they do that, because some people do really like the competitive experience, and it's going to be a while before they get that. Because you have to remember as well, Overwatch, its quick play isn't the same format as its competitive. When you look at Valorant, you can do unranked in Valorant, which is the same. It's the same play set. Well, not play set. What should I call it? The same sort of. What am I looking for? What is the word, ladies and gentlemen? It's the same rule set. That's what I'm looking for. Not play set. Rule set. Apex as well. When you're just playing general unranked games, it's the same as ranked. You know, you just don't lose any rank. So players are sort of playing the game, they're getting invested in it, then they go into competitive. The thing with Overwatch is comp is so different to all the other modes. It might be the mode that captures the free-to-play players, but because they can't get into it quick, they might not actually get to that level. But that's the price to play for not having the game filled with hackers, which obviously we can't have because the game would be completely unplayable. Okay, again, a lot of information in this video, guys. Do let me know in the comments below what you think about all of this. And yeah, we'll keep the Overwatch content coming as we get closer and closer and closer to launch. And yeah, I've been Stylosa, and I'll catch you lovely, lovely lot on the next video. See you soon.